All right, so here we go. Take fucking like 10 at this point. So it is month 3. Yeah, it's been 3 months. Can y'all believe it? Like, this is wild. Month 3. I'm not on the balcony today or in like my typical space because it's been raining and storming, and you know that kind of fucks with my back. And there's cicadas and all these bugs outside. And it's not happening. So my graphic designer slash video editor is out of town. So I decided to come into her room and use her cool little corner. Thanks. Also, I had to feed her fish, so it all worked out. So we're in May. 3 months. Only 3 months we have been in Chicago, and it's been a lot. So we left off on like April 22nd, 23rd, around there. So April 24th, vibe check. Herb and Smokey performed. It was cool. All of the artists and stuff that performed were cool. I would say that the way that the event was organized, a little questionable. Like, they got the artist names wrong on the flyer, didn't fix it. So it's kind of hard to promote something when like it's inaccurate. I don't blame the host at all. The host is super cool. I know that it wasn't on him. I know that there was like some background things happening there. I would definitely say when we were there, they kept the set times, they just kept moving them for no particular reason, it seemed. So all of the artists just really performed back to back after midnight. So it just, we can do better. That's all I'm going to say on that. That same week was also the big announcement of my, like, something I had been holding on to. I've been hinting at it, and we finally announced it. Midnight Club, the biggest fucking event of like ever of my life. Yeah, of just ever. Like, my introduction to the Chicago music scene as a major player. Not even just the music, like not even just the Chicago scene, but just like the hip hop scene, like in general. But I'm going to get into that later on because this vlog, we're doing something a little different. I'm doing it a couple days after Midnight Club so that I can include Midnight Club in this. So instead of the 22nd, today is the 26th. So you guys get a couple of extra days. But back to April. The day after Vibe Check, Maya and TQ were in the studio. TQ came in from Arizona. They have a joint project that they're going to be releasing July something. I forget. I believe it's July 4th, but don't hold me on that. So, yeah, that happened. I'd say that day I was kind of just over everything. I was in a vibe, like in a mood. So I wasn't too, I wasn't really like out, like, very social. I did what I had to do, and that was pretty much it, which is just get content. And then I was just done because they were trying to do all this extra shit, and I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Just take me the fuck home. So April 28th was a long day, because, yeah, a lot of things happened, unexpected. So I had my sit down interview with BDE TV. I was, since this day was a little complicated for everybody, my cousin was actually the one who took me, um, which was really cool, just to like involve my family in like everything I do and how much they support me. And even if though they don't understand what the fuck is going on half the time, just like having their support, it like means the world. Like, yeah, it's just a ride, but like, and he sat there with me and everything, but like, it means a lot. Like, not everybody has that, and like, I didn't always have that. So having that now here in Chicago, it's it changes the game for sure. Because like now I feel like I can actually definitely do things. Like, I don't have to hide what I'm doing. I don't have to like tiptoe around or anything like that. Like, I can be open with my family and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you give me a ride? Can you put on this shirt? Can you do whatever it is? So it was cool. And then he actually made a little bit of an appearance, like in the video or in the interview, by like you just gonna hear his voice in the background. So that was cool too. And he actually took a picture and everything with the team at BBE. So this was the beginning of the promo for Midnight Club. This is when I started talking about it on, a public forum, so to speak. And so this was me promoting it. I mean, it was also like a background information about me, just getting to know me a little bit. So that was cool. Then I got home, took a nap, got a random phone call that was like, hey, I got free tickets to Benny the Butcher tonight. You want to go? Yes. Like, that's the fact that that's a question is like, duh, I want to go. And it was like, I think it was like 6 o'clock when this associate called me, and he's like, yeah, the show starts at 7:30. Okay, I'll be ready in 20 minutes. Like, don't play with me. So I got to go to Benny the Butcher, and it was fun because like literally a lot of the times that I'm going to events or out or wherever, like it's for work. Like I'm covering the event, I'm networking, I'm whatever. So it's nice to like just go somewhere and like just have fun. So that was really cool. And so that was a busy day. And then for like the next couple of days, my BBE interviews were dropping. So it was like part one was just straight audio, part two was visual, which is where I promoted or I talked about Midnight Club. Part three was the Chicago quiz, which I completely failed. I got so nervous. Like I knew the answers to the questions that I fucked up so bad on the first one that I just got so nervous and I didn't want to do anything else after that. So I just kept freezing. So that was kind of fun. So like I mentioned, we are now in May. And like I said, we started promoting Midnight Club. Kind of was expecting a little bit of drama just um, because of prior issues that we've had in the music scene. Everybody seems to be having the similar issue with a similar person. So I was kind of expecting a little bit of backlash. Um, oh, I completely forgot before that. The night before, I think April 29th, I believe, that it was a Monday. So we went to Monday Night Raw where Smokey performed. That's another event by Young Tech and like his whole team. I did heavy promo for that too, to the point where people thought it was my event, but it wasn't. I appreciate that though, but like that one wasn't my event. So Smokey performed, and then that's when we kind of solidified her coming on to Midnight Club as a super secret special guest to do a song with Maya, and that's when we kind of solidified it. That night, also, I got to meet Mike Terror, which he's like the coolest, most humble, down to earth person like ever. And we got talked a little bit. He actually recognized me before I recognized him, which was so embarrassing. Like, and I had put it in my brain, like, make sure that you like look for him or like acknowledge. And he came up to me and he's like, hey, and I was like, hey, and he's like, and I'm looking at him like, and he's like, you're Melly, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm Mike Terror. I was like, oh my god, I was so embarrassed, like so embarrassed, like I'm an idiot. But no, he was cool, understanding. That's like my homie. Yeah, and we just got to chit chat for a bit, and he definitely gave me some inspiration through a compliment, like just like just through our talking, getting to know each other. He gave me a compliment that was like that I took in high regard, which also kind of somewhat triggered some childhood trauma later on. But it definitely made me look at myself differently, but in a positive way. And it also, like I said, it uncovered some childhood trauma that I had completely forgotten about and hadn't addressed, which I was able to address in therapy. Okay, So now May 1st, after we post everything about Monday Night Raw, the passive aggressive social media bullshit began. Ultimately, shut the fuck up and go make some money. That's all I got to say about that. Then after that, I had court shit to deal with because 6 years later, I'm still dealing with court stuff. So that kind of stresses me the fuck out. It triggers my anxiety, it triggers my depression. So I did fall into like a depressive episode for a few days, for a while. So I was definitely in a dark place. My therapy wasn't working. My therapy techniques weren't working. I ended up going to the doctor just like for a checkup, and they just seemed to ask me the right questions, and I kind of just like floodgates opened. Um, During that doctor's appointment, I also had to face a diagnosis I'd been hiding for about 5 years. Um, I think I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to address it. I still don't fully. Um, so, and it's not something that like is resolved through therapy. Although like I had been working on it somewhat in therapy, like some techniques. It's something that does require medication, unfortunately. Um, so, let's just continue to add to my mental illnesses and my disabilities and my impairments. Let's just add to the list. But I knew that I had this thing, but I just didn't address it fully. So now we're addressing it. And it took a little while to adjust to the medication and all of that, but I'm definitely in a good place. I see the difference. Um, I had been put on this medication before for something different. So I kind of already knew like how it was, and like I had good results before. I just didn't have it for enough time. Now I do. Um, yeah, so that was definitely a couple of tough days there. I was very reclusive. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. Obviously, I leaned on my aunt a lot. Um, but yeah, so that was kind of tough few days there, especially like I said, court stuff on top of my mental health and on top of going to the doctor to feel better. And then you're like, well, we got to address this issue that you haven't addressed. So that's, yeah. But even with all that, work doesn't stop. And yeah, so yeah. So even with me going through all of that and kind of doing all of that, I still put my brave face on. The show must go on. So I did. I sat down with a lot. They're so cool. Lo is amazing. Like he did a deep dive. I love that interview. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I love the lot. I can't say it enough. Like I love the lot. I just like the fact that they sat there, they did their research. It wasn't just let me look at your Instagram. It's like no, let me look at your website, your YouTube, your Spotify. Let me like really find things that most people don't ask me about. I definitely appreciated that. You know, um, but yeah, they're amazing, and we've been able to build a relationship from there, and so yeah, and like I said, I was in the midst of dealing with a lot when I did that interview, so I wasn't fully myself, but we're there. Then that brings us, because of course, more things. Like I said, these vlogs are not just about my career stuff, also like, what's going on in my life. So we got new drawers to make more space for me. My aunt went and got like new, like, I guess, like container drawer things for us. So I could put all of my clothes away and like really fully finish unpacking. I know, 3 months later, whatever, leave me alone. Um, yeah, so that was really exciting. Just like another step towards really being here, being like moving, so that was fun. Like I have my own space kind of. Then the day after, Maya was on BBE TV. That was a longer interview, and it was different. It was a different setup because she's an artist. I'm not. So instead of a pop quiz, she did like a performance. So that was cool. A couple days after that, another big move towards becoming an Illinoisian, a Chicagoan, whatever. Becoming a resident is I got my state ID. Yes, I went to the DMV finally, got my state ID, and it was like, whoa, I did a thing. That was a big step because up to this point, like I live here, but like, do I? Like all of my stuff was still connected to Florida and stuff like that. So now it's like as of like May 7th, I guess, I officially became a resident. So, or at least I have a state ID. I don't have a license yet, but my license is still connected to Florida because I got to fix some things over there and get my car here. It's a mess. But a couple days after that, we went to Sonic Palace for a recording session for Herb, but he ended up doing a song with him and Smokey. No, he did a song by himself, a song with him and Smokey. Fucking fire ass song. When it's done, like fire. And then Maya also got an hour in for like a verse that she had to do. Um, there was a lot going on that day, I would say. So some of the songs we might have to go back and like redo parts or figure something out because they're not where they need to be. A few days after that, we had Herb. Herb, we finally got him on a fucking podcast. I mean, we've been able to, like, I can book him for podcasts, but like, he hasn't sat down for an interview yet. So this was his first time that I am aware of. I've been trying to get him to sit down on Melly's couch for years, still waiting. So he was on 290 Mo. He did great. So that was really cool. The next day, my graphic designer was out of town for a week and she allowed me to have her room so I could feed her fish. Her fish died on my watch. I was sending her pictures and updates, and on May 16th, Bluebell, the fish, died. So I didn't know how to tell her, so I had my aunt break the news and FaceTimed her, and we buried her fish. I've never been to a fish funeral before, but I was that day. So little fishy, she's gone. Gone. She was cute with the fish. The next day, speaking of death, the next day was like the anniversary of my uncle's passing. It was 5 years. It was a weird day because in my like I'm in his space, like not in his space, but I'm with his family now, and my uncle meant everything to me. Everything. That was like a father figure to me. Like that's the man who for real raised me. The only person that I would actually ever listen to, um, for the most part. I did have my rebellious phases, but even whenever anything was wrong in my life, like I always called my uncle. So when he died, I had to be rushed to the emergency room because they thought I was having a heart attack just from his passing. It ended up being like a major, major panic attack. So kind of being here with his family, it was different than it has been the last few years. It was tough. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and lie about that. That day was a little rough. Like I was down, but I did a lot of coloring that day. It was because my aunt got me a new coloring book, and so I did a lot of coloring that day for sure. I think I ended up reading an entire book, and I just kind of ignored the world that day. Not intentionally or anything, but it was just yeah, yeah. Um, but again, the show must go on. So later that night, I had a business call with the. Oh, sorry. Okay, so later that night, I ended up having a business meeting with for Midnight Club, discussing final details, what we needed to still do, the lineup, media, all of the final details for Midnight Club. Then a couple of days after that, me and the girls went shopping for our outfits because we wanted to like stay on theme with the whole racing situation. So we did that as well. That same day or the day after, or one of those days, I woke up and had a very interesting morning because there was a fucking bird in the house. How the fuck it got in the house, no one knows. But I had to chase the fucking bitch out the goddamn house. He was in the walls. Like, how did you get in the wall, sir? But he did, and we're here now. And I chased him down. I mean, scared him down to the basement. Opened the door. I was like, "Fly, little birdie, fly." He didn't fly. So I checked on him a couple times, and he was just like, "No, bitch, I ain't gonna fly away for you." But luckily, one of my cousins used to do like wildlife stuff, so he knows how to take the animals out of houses. So when he got home, he's like, "I'll just check it. Like, leave the basement door open, but I'm gonna check." When he checked, it was gone. So I guess fuck you, birds. Cool. Stressing out my life. A few days after that, more court stuff because of fucking court, of course. But it was like semi good court stuff. Um, Something to we're getting to the end. Pretty much all I can really say on that. And after that, guess what I did that day? I also went to the bank because I need a new bank account. And now I set up my new bank account with my new address out here. Because yeah, so little by little we're taking the steps. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Then I also started looking for shipping companies to get my car out here. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know because like there's a lot of information and I'm just like, bitch, it's my car. I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck. Um, I also got new products from my affiliate. I been working with Riot for a couple of years now, so they sent me some new stuff. Um, I'll leave the link or whatever to that below, so you guys can. And then I also have a code, which I believe is Melly Stars 10, that you guys can use at checkout if you like um, accessories. That's all I'm gonna say to keep it, YouTube friendly. And finally, Midnight Club. We did it. We're there. We made it. Midnight Club. It's oh geez. How do I begin? Um, I got new equipment, so I got a gimbal. I got new cables, new boots. Like we did the whole thing, like everything. So I knew it was gonna be a long day because again, I partnered on this event, so there was that aspect. I was also doing media that night, and I was also doing interviews. Um, it was a lot. I have the tendency to put a lot on my plate, but we did it. Um, it was hard to do the interviews, to be honest with you. Not every artist was willing or cooperative, and some were just kind of in and out. Because since I had to double dip as media and interviews, I couldn't just sit upstairs and do all of the interviews straight through. I could only do it really during intermissions or in the beginning, like during the opening acts, which means I don't have all of the footage from everybody. So it sucks. Um, and then there wasn't a lot of time after the show. And at that point, everything was almost dead, but I got some good ones. I had a list of people that I was going to originally be interviewing, but that quickly changed. And then we ended up adding new people that I wasn't prepared for, and that's stressful. And I've never done on-site interviews like that. Mine are usually very planned out, like studio vibes. So this was definitely it was definitely a new experience. Um, but we made it work, especially like I said, double dipping. I definitely gonna need like more equipment to make it, if I do this again, to make it easier. Um, we had a lot going on. I was also able to bring out the lot came out to do a little bit of media. So I'm going to be reaching out to them, figuring that out. I also ended up having to do visuals because this shit happens, and sometimes you just got to jump in where you got to. So I ended up doing the visual on the big screen. So that was an interesting fucking situation. Nervous as fuck, but I did it. Um, then I'm also stressed because my artists are performing. I have like my media connections there. We have all these big names. It was like a lot. But I think I had so much adrenaline rushing through me that it was like like nothing hit me until we left. Like nothing hit me until we left. Like for me, it was just like another day in the office type of thing, and like I was really in like Melly Stars mode for sure. Like Melly Stars mode, 100,000%, because I don't know who that person was with everything that I was doing. And I know that at some points the pressure did get to me because I started yelling and I was getting a little snippy, but you know, shit happens. Yeah, it was an incredible night. Like I got major interviews, major connections, and I'm just like, who am I? Like once we left and like I started to recap with my team, I was like, who the fuck am I? Like I really just did that. Like what? So now I gotta sit down and edit all the interviews, and I'm just like, what? Who am I? What did I just do? Um, I have no fucking words, and I have all of the words at the same time. If that makes any sense, and it's just so cool. Like it's a lot. It's a lot, and like now I have a lot of content. I gotta do the recap. I gotta do a recap video. I gotta edit the interviews. I gotta do the Instagram recap. I have to do follow up with the media sources. So much that like my partner, Young Tact, lucky for him, he's done. Like we said it that night. He's like, "Oh, I'm done." I was like, "My job has just begun." Actually, we made it to this point, but I still have so much else that I have, so much more that I have to do. So I'm like, "That's great, great for you." But all weekend, I'm going to be working on Midnight Club. At this point, I'm going to have content for Midnight Club for like months. Like at this point, I said at this point twice. My bad. So yeah, Midnight Club, fucking incredible. We did have issues. I'm not going to say that there weren't any issues. There were issues. There's always going to be issues at events, always. But there's certain issues that can be avoided or are unnecessary. And I felt like that night, talking to my business partner when we were recapping all of the different issues, like it might be time to change directions with some things. Like I said, I definitely know. I sat down with my team that night. We all went over like what we could have done better and what we liked, didn't like, all of that. So we always like to do that internal like team meeting type of thing, like what we could have done, changed, or whatever. Um, yeah, because we're professionals. We always want to improve, and part of that is taking a hard look at yourself and having your team take a look at you, because sometimes you can't do it yourself, and not being offended by it. So we did that. Again, me and my business partner talked about everything as well, and changes moving forward, what's happening for the future and stuff like that. I keep looking at my mic because funny but not funny story, my fucking mics decided to trip out. I had charged everything like the day before Midnight Club, packed everything up because I knew I was going to be, anxiety and all that stuff. And my mics only worked for like half of the fucking interviews. So yeah, I keep looking at this shit because what the fuck? And I'm like, bro, you could have broken at any fucking point, not during like one of the biggest nights of my life. You know, like fuck you. So yeah, that's the thing that happened. So now I gotta get new mics, probably a new camera, to be honest. Um, Figure out the gimbal, and yeah, Midnight Club, Midnight Club. I'm so happy. Yeah, so happy, so happy. I will say my biggest gripe with it is that it's ironic that I've supported so many people in the Chicago space, and I've been telling people about this or about this event, and a lot of those people who I've supported didn't show the same support, um, which was a kind of somewhat of an overarching theme with everyone involved, or not everyone, but with several people involved. We There were a lot of comments like that, like, "Hey, um, so and so is I've supported so and so and they didn't show up. So and so said they were going to show up, they didn't." So that seemed to be an overarching theme, and that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. May 25th, what happened? That was my auntie's birthday. Yay! That was also the day after Midnight Club, and I was still on a high from just holy shit, I did it. Holy shit, I'm back in my bag. Like, I'm back in the game. Like, I can actually do this. Like, what? I regained my confidence in myself and my craft and my professionalism and all of the things. Um, so that day I was just resting. My auntie's out of town, so I'm hoping that when she comes back into town tomorrow, I can like at least get her some flowers or something. I wanted to go out to dinner with like the whole fam, but like I don't know because literally everyone's out of town. So I've just been chilling. Pretty much had the house to myself almost. One of my cousins is here because he is still working. But yeah. And then today, May 25th, I've just been working on Midnight Club stuff because that's going to be my life for the next couple of weeks. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got, I think. Until next month.